All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of our Aquariums Online Academy. My name is Talia. I'm from our educational department. I'm excited to share a little bit of my afternoon with you. So welcome, everyone. Today, we are going to be exploring some animals. We're exploring specifically a lot of their sizes of animals, too, and kind of some of the extreme ends of that, right? We're hopefully going to be exploring animals that are really, really small and maybe even some animals that are really, really big. That's kind of a little bit of my game plan today. Now, if you are curious about anything during our program, if you have questions, you are welcome to text those questions in as we are live on the air. So if you're watching this live on Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock, you're welcome to text us. That number down below is right. I can get good at my pointing today. Boop, boop, boop. 562-286-1838. You're welcome to text in those questions live. I have my friend Edgar keeping an eye on that text channel as well as changing all the magic behind me. So you're welcome to text in if you have questions today. You're also welcome to email us if you are not watching this live, you're watching it at a later date. If after the program you're like, oh man, I really wish I asked that question, feel free to email us and one of our staff members will get back to you as soon as they can. So again, if you're watching it live right now, text those questions in. If you are watching it later, feel free to email. All right, so let's think about some animals that are big and some animals that are small, and talk a little bit about are they big? Are they small? And some cool things about them. I think Edgar is gonna drop me in on an animal that is really, really big. Ooh, I'm gonna get out of the way. Ooh, because there is a friend poking out of the water there. So, what is that? I think we started off with not only a really big animal, but I think we started out with the biggest animal on the planet. I think we started out with a blue whale. Oh my goodness, a blue whale that is poking its head out of the water there. That is super cool. So we're kind of looking at a little bit of its face. Um, they're looking at its mouth. I notice you can see some of its pleats down there as well. So that's more at the bottom. So I think we're doing something like that. But a blue whale is super duper big. It would not fit in the room I am currently in at all. It is the biggest thing on the planet. It is 88 feet long on average. On average, not even the biggest one ever. On average, 88 feet long. That is ginormous. The biggest, I'm gonna not tangle up in my mic cord here. The biggest one ever was about 110 feet long. 110. Super big. So these are whales. Um, they, you might say, I don't know if I would call that super duper blue. They look a little bluer under the water, I'll say. They look a little bit gray, a little bit brown when they're out of the water. Under the water, they're actually this really pretty turquoise. It almost looks like the waves on my shirt over here. So they are definitely a little bit more blue under the water, but they are a really cool animal. They are not only a whale, they're a particular type of whale called a baleen whale, which means instead of teeth, like you and me, that are good for chomping and chewing, they have teeth in their mouth that look a little bit more like a beautiful mustache. And they use that to filter really, really tiny. Ooh, and here's a beautiful view of a tail of a whale as well. So they use that to filter some little teeny tiny animals out of the water. Excuse me. And then we have a tail of a whale here. Is this still a blue whale? Is it still a blue whale? Oh, yeah, again, some nods from Edgar over here. A tail of a blue whale as well. Looks like they might even have, looks like maybe some, I can't quite tell if there's like barnacles or some little friends on the edge there. But what's cool about a whale's tail, not only do we kind of see what they like to use to swim with, But they also have some really unique markings on the underside as well. So scientists can actually take pictures of a whale's tail and use that essentially like their fingerprints. And they can say, aha, I've seen this whale before. And I can compare it to a catalog that maybe some other scientists have and say, this scientist saw this whale over there. And now today, I saw it in this location over here. We can actually use that to kind of sort of keep an eye on whale, track whales, trying to see what paths they take in their life. And I think that's super duper cool. So yeah, blue whales, one of the biggest animals out there on the planet. All right, so we started off with somebody really, really big. Again, if you have questions today, if you're curious about something, please feel free to text in those questions. Again, that number down below is 562-286-1838. You're welcome to text in questions if you have any questions today. Please feel free to let me know if you're curious about something. I'm happy to try to answer some questions this afternoon. All right, I think we're going for another big friend. Woo! Okay, another big friend. I'm gonna get out of the way so you can see this super cool big friend. We are going with one of the biggest sharks out there. I think it is the biggest shark out there. This is a whale shark. Whoa. Um, they also have some some really unique spots to them as well. I believe these are also unique to each individual whale shark. So I think get further into the screen here so I'm not just a hand. I believe they are unique to each one as well. So I believe we could also, similar to taking pictures of whale tails, take pictures of whale shark spots to try to figure out what are they up to? Where are they going? Have we seen this friend before? They also have a really unique way to eat as well. They don't really have. I love it. Can you guys be good whale sharks? Maybe, maybe just me. Okay, their mouth is super interesting because they don't really have teeth per se that we can see really well in there. They are actually going to use their gills a little bit more to help them eat. Mouth super wide, go through the water, and then eat some really tiny food, some really tiny plankton, maybe some brine shrimp, some krill in the water, and they're going to catch it in these little combs they have on their gills, and swallow it down and eat it. So I think it is cool that something as big as a whale shark eats really, really small food. I don't think I've mentioned how big they are. So average is about 32 feet or so. The maximum is 60 feet. And that is, whoo-wee, that is a big fish. I'm going to get out of the way so you can see it. Look, you can see it compared to these divers on the side there. Oh my goodness. That is bigger than a school bus. School bus, I think I was trying to look up how big is a big normal size school bus. That's like 40 something feet. So either way, that is bigger than a school bus shark. Looks like I got some fish friends following along as well. That's fantastic. Now, since I'm in the studio and I noticed it on the wall, we do have an example of how big their mouth is. So I'm going to step off screen for a moment. I'm going to let you look at a beautiful whale shark for a minute. I'm going to go pull it off our wall here so you can see just a little bit better how big their mouth is. So I will be right back. And let's take a gander at this shark jaw. All right, I'm coming back in just a moment here. I'm just getting it off the little hook we have here in the studio. Okay, I'm back. Are you ready to see it? Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Ta-da! Oh my, ooh, it's a little speckly today, but that's okay. Let me get a little bit closer there. But yeah, it's really big. I could fit in it. They have a really, really big jaw. And again, just eat really teeny tiny things. I think that's super cool. Something that is this ginormous can eat something really, really super small. All right, I'm going to get this safely back on the wall. I will be right back. And we'll keep on exploring some animal sizes. All right, I'm going to be back in just a moment. Maybe I'll have my friend Edgar start to put up our next ocean friend, and it'll be a surprise when I get back in front of y'all. All right. That looks pretty secure. All right. I'm going to come back, see who my next friend is. It is. We went small. We went super duper teeny tiny little small. Oh, it's so cute. Now I know I look ginormous next to this friend. I'm going to the way so you can see it a little bit better. It's so cute. Ah. All right, so this is a seahorse. This is a dwarf seahorse. It's super small. This friend here, the biggest they get, is 2 inches. Only 2 inches. So that's like, let's see, maybe my thumbnail, and then one more. So like about the size. That's not a good. Let's see. I can do this. Inch and another inch. So maybe about the size of my thumb. That's as big as a seahorse gets. All right. So yeah, maybe about an inch or so is the max this friend can get. They're so small. Oh my goodness. I think they're adorable. Now we can actually see in this picture, they are pointing out some really cool adaptations that our friends have as well. Couple things. So first off, their body is super cool. Now I know this maybe doesn't look like the shark we saw earlier, but believe it or not, a seahorse is a fish. Does it look like maybe the fish you picture in your head? When we think about a fish, probably not so much, but if we think about what makes a fish, there's still some things that match, even though this is a completely different body shape than some other fish that we might picture in our brains. Now, fish have gills to help them breathe. So does the seahorse right there. That's their gills. Fish have a backbone. They got a backbone going down there. Fish have fins. They got some fins there. And they actually sometimes have some little tiny fins kind of by their cheeks as well to help them move. So those are some things that make a fish a fish. Oh, and they have scales. Their scales are a little different. They're not like the shiny, shimmery ones. They look like mermaid tails. But they do have some bony plates to help them out. So seahorses are a type of fish. I think that's super cool. Some other cool adaptations our friends have. They have a really cool long mouth here. They have a little flap in the front that opens and closes, and that helps them slurp up some very, very tiny plankton to help them eat. So that's a cool adaptation that they have. They share that with other seahorses and their cousins, like sea dragons, which are one of my favorites as well. You might also notice that they are curling their tail up here. So they have what's called, let's see if I can get to a better spot. So you can see, so you can see this seahorse and me. Let's see, not that one, this one. I need to point with this arm because I am on the other side of the screen. I knew that. I was testing you. Okay, this seahorse right here, use that tail right there. It has a prehensile tail, just like a monkey does. So it curls, which is great for helping them to hold on to things. A lot of times, places like this that have seagrass in them, sometimes I've seen them hold on to each other as well. There's a bunch of them. They kind of almost look like that game with the little monkeys all hooked together. But yeah, they will. I'm gonna get good at pointing on the other side of the screen. This friend right here. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm going to go this way a little. Ha this way a little more. You can see. Nope. See it a little bit better. I'm going to get better about being on this side. All right. I think we had a question about where they live. They live in seagrass beds. You can find them in the Gulf of Mexico, as well as I think some other parts of America. All right. So fantastic. We've explored some tiny friends as well. And again, my friends, if you have any questions today, if you are curious about something, if you're wondering more about either the animals we're talking about, what is a biggest thing, a smallest thing, please feel free to text in those questions. Again, that number below is on your screen. It is 562-286-1838. All right, I think we have another really cute picture of our dwarf seahorse here. Oh, so very cute. We can see them in the side. You can see their gills a little bit better in the. Oh, I actually also noticed there's another friend in here. I'll talk about that in just a minute. But I noticed we can see their gills a little bit better right over here. There's one of their fins on their back, and then they got their nice old tail curling around. This looks like a branch of something, maybe a root to help them hold on. But I noticed there's another friend in here. There is a teeny tiny little shrimp right over there. That is probably what they are trying to eat. I think there might even be another one in the background right there. That is a teeny tiny shrimp for them to eat for maybe breakfast, lunch, or dinner, depending on when this photo is taken. Very cool. All right, let's keep exploring some ocean friends. I'm going to have Edgar pull up another friend as I flit back onto screen here to explore. Again, we're looking at some extreme sides of sizes today. We're trying to look at some animals that are really, really big and some animals that are really, really small. So I'm going to let Edgar put up another animal. We'll see. Is it big? Is it small? It's so small. Okay, now I did not bring a dime to show you today. But if you look really closely, there is a friend on there who is smaller than a dime. Oh my goodness. All right, so do you see a friend right there? It's so cute. That is a pajama squid. A pajama squid. I think we called it pajama squids because it looked like they were wearing striped pajamas. And it's so cute. It's so small. This is another friend who does not get very big at all. I think the max is maybe about an inch or two. Ooh, we're gonna zoom. Enhance. We're gonna see if we can get it a little bit bigger. I'll give Edgar a moment to see if we can zoom in just a teeny tiny bit more, but they're so small. They're so small. Squids are related to things like octopuses and cuttlefish and other friends, and they have some other really cool adaptations to help them out. They don't have bones in their body, so they are very squishy. They have lots of appendages to help them out. When we think about an octopus, we think about 8. Squid have a little bit more. They have 10 to help them grab onto things, manipulate objects, hold on. They also have some different sizes as well. So they have 2 really long tentacles, I believe. And then they have 8 short, strong arms to help them hold on to stuff. But yeah, this little PJ squid, this little pajama squid, they only get about, I think about 2 inches or so. It's about as big as they get. So they are teeny, 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 teeny. Tiny. They're super duper cute. Very cool. All right, we've explored another really small friend. Let's see what other friends we can explore together as well. And again, my friends, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I am happy to answer any questions. Now, one thing we haven't talked about yet is why is size important, right? Why does it matter if you're really, really big or really, really small? That might be an example of what we call an adaptation. Adaptation, again, is something that is in or on a plant or animal to help it survive in its home. It's something that they're born with, so it's not like me putting on a jacket to keep myself warmer. Woo, that's that word. If you want to see how it's adaptation. Um, and that helps them out in their home. Now, if I'm really, really big, that might give me some advantages, right? That might make me make other things not want to mess with me. You know, sometimes if I see a big animal, I'm like, ooh, um, that's bigger than me. Maybe I don't really want to mess around with this animal. Maybe I'm gonna give myself some pause and be like, I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna go this way, a little bit of distance away from me and the really, really big thing over there. Um, but what about if you're small? How does being small help you out instead, right? Hmm. If I'm really small, maybe I'm better at hiding in places. If I'm really small, maybe I'm so small, maybe you won't notice me, even if I'm like right over there. Maybe I'm really good at hiding. So that might be some. Or if I'm really small, maybe I can get through all the teeny tiny little, not just hiding, but maybe I can fit through all the teeny tiny nooks and crannies of, say, like a coral reef or a kelp forest. I can get the places where the big friends that might want to eat me as a delicious snack can't get to. Ooh, got the motion of the ocean. Oh my goodness. Okay, so if you're wondering what's going on behind me, we have some plankton we're hanging out with right now. Those are some other really small friends. Now, plankton doesn't necessarily mean you're small. It refers really more to how they're swimming or not really swimming very well. They are drifters. They're kind of going with the motion of the ocean. They're going with the ocean currents. These are in particular are some small examples of some, but jellies, sea jellies, are another example of plankton as well. Looks like we have a lot of. Ooh, oh my goodness. Gotta put some floaties on here. Woo! We got some copepods hanging out with us as well. Looks like a little jelly just swam by too. Yeah, we have a lot of animal planktons hanging out with us as well. These were definitely would be some that I would probably need a microscope to hang out as well. Looks like we're gonna take a closer look at some little baby jellies. Eee, it's so cute. So these are actually this is my favorite stage of sea jellies. This is called this part of their life cycle. So it's past being an egg, um, and they will be an egg. They'll float around in the water like our plankton was doing earlier. They will settle on the ground, boop, and they will kind of make a pancake stack of themselves. Boop, 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 boop. Every little pancake pops off, boop, and they become this little free floating friend called Unephora. I think they look like little blinking flowers. They're really, really small and really, really cute. And then this is going to change their shape a couple more times. It'll end to be that big, beautiful bell we think about when we think about sea jellies, like our moon jellies here. So this is what they look like when they're all grown up. Their bell has filled in a lot more, and they have that much more of that kind of umbrella shape that we're used to with looking at our jellies. Fantastic. And then our Ephyras, they get really small. You can see them with the naked eye, but they're pretty teeny tiny sometimes. They're pretty small when they're babies. You can actually see them in here. I can use my visual aids as reference. So these are the little Ephyra, and then those are the grown-ups. And the moon jelly grown-ups I've seen maybe get about maybe about dinner plate size. That's about how big, like max they can get when they're all grown up. Eee! All right, these are some more. This is that pancake stack stage I was telling you about. So this is when they've settled. They actually look more like their cousins, the sea anemones, are kind of upside down, and they're gonna kind of make copies of themselves. They're literally making clones of themselves. So one stack here, they are all genetically the same here. And then they will again split off into those little Ephyra, and then become some really awesome moon jellies. Fantastic. So those are some other examples of some of our smaller friends that we'll see hanging out. All right, Edgar's got the next animal queued up. We're gonna go for a big one. Yay! We're gonna go for a fish friend. Now, I'm gonna get out of the way so you can see their beautiful face. Woo! Um, we are looking at a giant sea bass here. These fish, I know it's hard to tell from the picture, but these fish get bigger than me when they grow up. They get almost 8 feet long when they are full grown. Um, and they are a very fun local friend, at least local for us here in California, that lives off of our kelp forest. Now, They also have some beautiful spots on them. Just like some of our other animals we've been talking about today, the spots are individual to them. So we can take photos and actually see who's been by before, which is cool. There's another great example of our giant sea bass. You might notice their spots are a little bit different. Ooh, I also noticed there's a little kelp bass here. Boop, hanging out there. Very cool. But again, these are super big fish that hang out in our kelp forest. And they have a great comeback story too. Ooh, and here is what that beautiful kelp forest looks like. All that beautiful sunshine coming down from the surface. And then those muted colors we saw, those kind of grays and splotches and spots, those help blend in with kind of some of the more neutral colors you might find in a kelp forest as well. So that's another great adaptation, not only just being a really big friend out in the kelp forest, maybe not a lot of animals might want to mess with them. They also will blend in with their home a little bit better. Um, and then giant sea bass. This is what they look like when they're a baby. They're really, really cute. They look way different than what they do when they're grown ups. But this is what they look like when they're a baby. They're really small. I'm trying to remember how small they are when they're a baby, but they're like, yeah, they're pretty tiny. When they're a little bitty baby, little bit different of a pattern to help them maybe blend in a little bit more with the kelp itself. The kelp, especially up at the top, gets really thick. It's a great hiding spot for younger fish. So all that thick blades and leaves up there, that's really good for all the little teeny tiny baby fish to hang out at as they're growing up. As they get bigger, like our big giant sea bass, they're going to be hanging up probably a little bit more towards the middle or the bottom where it kind of opens up. There's a lot more room for them to hide it as well. All right, I think we got. Look at how small it is. Remember the little baby fish we were talking about? It's right there. It's so small. It's pretty cute. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Right over there. Boop. They're really tiny. They're really tiny. They're about the size of, you said about a quarter? Yeah, yeah, we're thinking about. Give or take, give or take. We're playing charades here. All right. I got it. Okay. Um, so they're a really, really small little fishy friend right over there. Very cool. So yeah, giant sea bass are another really cool animal that we're lucky to have off of our coast. Another big example of a big animal. All right, we're gonna go. I think maybe one more friend. We got a couple minutes left. So again, if you have questions, friends, questions, you are welcome to ask them. And I think maybe we'll talk about this friend over here. Now, you're probably wondering, what is this? Behind me over here, this is, if you're thinking anemone, you're close. It is a cousin of an anemone. This is what coral looks like inside the hard kind of structures that we see when we see coral. So when I think about coral, I think about it as kind of an apartment building. Inside, there's all these little teeny tiny, little squishy anemone looking animals or polyps. And then inside that, do we see these little spots and dots inside those? Are like a little roommate that lives inside the coral polyp. And these are really, really, really tiny. This is a little bit better example of those little roommate friends that live inside one individual polyp that we're seeing over here. So one big piece of coral can probably have like hundreds, thousands of these little polyps on the inside, and that's what kind of helps keep it going and keep it alive, which is really neat. All right, my friends, we are almost out of time. So, and this is a little bit more about what some of those coral polyps look like. Again, very anemone-ish, just like their cousins. We are about out of time, my friends. So I wanted to thank you so much for hanging out with me and exploring some extreme animal sizes today. We explored some really big friends like our whale sharks, our giant sea bass, our blue whale. We explored some really small friends like our seahorses, our pajama squid, some plankton, some coral polyps. So we had some fun exploring kind of either side of the spectrum in terms of animal sizes today. So I hope you had fun. If you have further questions, you're still welcome to ask them. We just ask that you email us instead. We'll get those numbers back on the screen in just a moment. The email address now is live@lbaop.org. But again, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you had fun. Thank you for sharing a little bit of your afternoon with us. And then we'll see you next time, next week, I believe, on Tuesday, for another edition of our Aquariums Online Academy. So thank you again, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.